And hello, everybody. Of course, this is going to be a little bit odd, but welcome to the Go Home Wrestling Show. This is the audio-only version today, as we're got. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm muted. Hold on. I'm sorry. Alright, there we go. We'll edit this out. Here we go. Let's go back into it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Go Home Wrestling Show. My name is EJ. Alongside with me is Matt Griff and D-Shap. And
what's up?
Hello.
I know it's a little odd of an intro, but of course, everyone, we're doing the audio-only version tonight. Gonna be doing a little switching around here, trying to. Well, couldn't do it on the main desktop, so we are doing it on the laptop. And Dan, 23 Bio, welcome on Twitch.
Hey, Bio.
Hey, welcome. All right, well, we got a lot to cover tonight. We got, of course, we didn't see NXT TakeOver, so I know a lot of people are going to be wanting to know what our thoughts on it, but we're not going to say anything about that. I'm going to try to do a watch on Monday along with Survivor Series at some point. Just tonight, we're just going to cover past week, the go home shows, no pun intended, to the Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and then give our predictions for tomorrow night's Survivor Series. So let's get right into it. I mean, this week is obviously not it wasn't a usual go home week like others. There was a lot of things that changed hands in the past week, and of course we'll get into it throughout the course of the show, but I mean, wasn't it? I'll go with you. Start with you, Matt Griff. Didn't it seem weird? It just didn't seem like the typical go-home shows that we're all used to. Going into a pay-per-view.
All the way across the board, it was kind of strange. I know we talked about it yesterday during our show with NXT. It was really weird, NXT-wise, not seeing any of the guys or any of the performers for the pay-per-view even be on the show. And it just seemed like they got away from necessarily building the storylines and just kind of doing more video packages for stuff to build things up. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I really enjoyed it. I think it added a little more fuel to the fire rather than the same crap that we've seen over and over and over.
Yeah, and you know what? It different. It is different. Of course, you're going to get people that are going to hate on it. People couldn't enjoy it. Well, you liked it. What about you, D-Shep? Did you like pretty much all the shows this week as far as being the go-home shows? I mean, did you find it weird or did you like it?
Well, I did find it weird at first, and it really, I didn't have necessarily the best reaction towards it at first, but then I seen a story that was on one of those spoiler websites, basically, but no spoiler here, is that they're treating Survivor Series as a standalone event with its own particular, not normal storylines. And it didn't really dawn on me while watching Raw and while watching SmackDown, but when I heard that, then I kind of understood why Raw and SmackDown were set up in the way that they were. They were kind of just dismissing background storylines for now and just focusing on Survivor Series. So I get it. Was I the biggest fan of it? Probably not. But, you know, it is what it is. That's why the Charlotte-Becky hug, which we'll get into, makes a little more sense, is that they were tossing aside the current storylines and they'll pick them back up after Survivor Series. So for what it is, it's fine.
Okay, well, now that we got your points, I thought it was a unique build too. Some things they had to avoid, some things they had to fix, damage control. So all right, let's go right into it with the Raw. And if you hear that talking a little bit funny, I bit the shit out of my tongue today, so please forgive me as I try to power through this. All right, so there's a few things we're going to discuss with Raw. And, of course, we got Strowman, Corbin, Lesnar. We're going to talk about the possible build to the match at Royal Rumble. And something they threw in there. Ambrose finally addressing Rollins. And then, of course, the final thing is the attack of the SmackDown women's locker room going and invading Raw. And the unique and into that as well, and what followed on SmackDown. So we'll get right into it. First thing is Strowman, Corbin, and Lesnar. Of course, they start the show off with Strowman interrupting the tag team battle royal in the beginning of the show. Yeah, we're not going to get into that part. He came out to call out the general manager, Baron Corbin, for him to get these hands.
I'm sorry, but I do want to get into that a little bit.
Okay, if you want,
just a quick little snippet. If you weren't already thinking that they don't give a flying fuck about the Tag Team Survivor Series match, the beginning of Raw solidifies that point. That's all I wanted to say.
I can't disagree with that. A good assessment there. All right, so moving forward, after that, he says that Baron Corbin's gonna get these hands. Out comes Stephanie, talks sense to him. She was trying to emphasize on how they should be a team, and he should focus on being a team, and especially keep that attitude going into Survivor Series. Of course, Strowman went on to saying he didn't care about Raw or her brother Shane or any of that. He did not care. He just wanted to get his hands on Corbin and get his shot at Lesnar. And of course, Stephanie did offer and accepted that if he was to win at Survivor Series, that she would not only give him a match with Baron Corbin, but also giving him his Universal title shot in the near future. Now, I guess we're assuming that they were going to have Strowman, if the Raw was to win, they're going to face Corbin at TLC and face Lesnar at Royal Rumble. If that is the case, unless you guys think different, what are your thoughts if that is the case?
I don't think that's the case, because if I had to put a prediction on it, I'd say Corbin cost Team Raw the match, so he don't have to face Strowman.
Okay. And what about you, Griff? Do you see anything with that?
Well, I still think it's going to turn out the same way, to where we're going to have Corbin against Strowman at TLC, and then Strowman versus Lesnar at Royal Rumble. But I completely agree with D-Shep. I think Corbin is going to do something to cause him to lose in that same situation, trying to avoid the match with Strowman. Stephanie's going to come over and all of a sudden do the Big Show thing and flip-flop, heel and face again.
Yeah, and then make the match.
And then make the match anyway. But am I really invested in it either way? No. I mean, we're going to talk more about it, obviously, but the whole problem with Strowman I've had for months now is when you flipped him from face to heel, and now you're kind of backpedaling because you screwed up to begin with, and to me it just killed the character, and I can't buy into any of it going forward. You're going to have to rebuild this character up like you did originally, and just to do a complete reset there.
See, yeah, it's funny you made that point.
I agree.
Now, if this was 6 months ago, if we go back to like the greatest Royal Rumble and the way he was perceived then, would you believe it then?
I'm all in.
You're all in.
I was 100% behind him at that point.
The fact they turned him because they wanted to do that Shield versus Strowman, Ziggler, McIntyre, to pretty much try to get the rub off from the Shield for Roman, for people to, cheer Roman. And, of course, we all know what happened. But then they switched them back and hoping that we just have 10-second minds and not realizing what they just did. I get what you're saying, but you don't think it's too far off that it's beyond fixing it at this point?
No, it's not beyond fixing it. They're starting it over, though. There was one line in particular when he said he didn't care about the team or didn't care about Shane. That was fantastic. If that line was made when he was a face without any change happening in the past, I have no issues whatsoever. But to me, when it's just at the beginning of rebuilding him as a face again, it kind of felt flat because you kind of ruined it already.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at too. I mean, is it beyond repair? No. You're going to get Braun Strowman back over as a face, just like you originally built him up, but it's going to take time. You can't just... It's almost like you're Roman Reigns and this guy. You're trying to throw him over the top again, and I think we're all so fed up of what they did, the poor writing originally. It's going to take a little bit of time to gain our trust back in Strowman.
Yeah. Well... I agree with you on that. I wish they didn't go that. And TP Poker, what's your question? He has a question, he said, and hopefully it's not what I think it is. So you can go ahead and ask that question when you can. Now, what was the one question I had? Oh, should he be champion already? Oh, wait a minute, no, we already addressed that. I'm sorry, I got all fucked up. The one question I wanted to ask, do you think McIntyre and Strowman at WrestleMania? That was the question, I'm sorry.
I hope so, but likely no.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I think McIntyre is our shoe-in for WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I don't know what they're going to do, if it's going to be Strowman, if it's going to be Lesnar. I'm not sure what they're going to do.
I do have a theory.
What's that?
What if Triple H has McIntyre fight for him against Batista in Mania?
But what would they do with the Universal title?
Well, that could be any kind of combination of Strowman, Brock, Seth, Dean. You probably throw a few more guys in there the way things are going. That could all be up for that.
Yeah, I don't know where they would go with that. Yeah,
because the rumor is that Batista's film schedule is completely clear between January and April for his final run. So not unless he gets picked up by a new movie, he's probably still coming back for that same run. So if Triple H is out of the question, he's got to build the feud against somebody. And really, nobody has interest in, let's say, somebody like Seth Rollins or Dean or anybody else really against him. But McIntyre, if Triple H can't go, is a very interesting selection, I think.
That is pretty good, but what if the possibility that they might make him do what they did back in 2014 and give him a shot at the title?
I think it's too soon.
And I agree, but
I would love it, though.
They did it with The Rock.
I think they should do it quicker than WrestleMania if that's what they're going to do. I think they should give him that shot at Royal Rumble and then have Batista go against McIntyre at WrestleMania for the title. I think that'd be the setup. But and maybe some kind of deal to where, just like D-Ship was going on, Triple H is going to be the mastermind behind that. He helps Batista win it at Royal Rumble, and then somewhere shortly afterwards stabs him in the back or however you want to do it. But I think that I would be more invested in that match for WrestleMania than I would Lesnar versus McIntyre for sure.
That would make sense, because if Triple H helps Batista winning over McIntyre, then that could also set up the future match between Triple H and Batista that was supposed to happen at Mania. I like that.
Yeah. There's so many ways they could go about it, and of course it's going to be that way. You had your things set in stone, and of course what happened to Roman kind of threw that monkey wrench into the cog, and really...
He'll throw another monkey wrench if he comes back, too.
Oh, man. I don't see him be back for at least
You don't know! You don't know that. That leukemia shit sometimes with that chemo, man, that could be 6 months, and that would line up, real close, man.
Right.
Okay, you got a point there. Go ahead.
TP Poker, his question is bringing up that he don't believe that McIntyre versus anyone seems like it's enough star power. And for me, on the McIntyre side, we all know what we think about McIntyre. We're, I think, unanimous over the moon about what this character is.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. But it's what you're going to build against him is exactly what we're talking about. You've killed Strowman's character. We're all so far over Lesnar, it's freaking ridiculous. Omega, if he does sign, great. I could see that working, but that's awful quick to throw him into that kind of category.
Yeah, he's not going to win the Rumble out the chute, man. If AJ Styles wasn't going to win it on the debut, no one is.
So it makes it hard to book this WrestleMania. I think the only way that you get enough star power to go against McIntyre is It's got to be Batista in my book. That's the only way you're really going to sell this to get me fully invested in the Universal title.
You do also have the potential star power of Rock coming in for this Mania too, because the original plan was that he was open to facing Roman at Mania. Would he be open to facing somebody like Brock at Mania also? So that could be your outside star power too.
Give me The Rock against McIntyre. I'm all in.
Well,
I would love to see that match.
That's the match I would much rather see. But looking at it from WWE standpoint, they're thinking Rock versus Brock, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
From a fan's point of view, we'd rather see McIntyre against any of these guys we're mentioning, but we'll see.
Yeah. And Batista said, TP Poker said Batista ended his last run like a hump. He looked weak.
I'm going to give you some advice right now.
I agree,
Poker.
but that was writing.
I completely 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to get over that because he's coming back as a face and in a big way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
the way
forward to it.
the way he
I'm
was
actually
written
looking
in
forward
that
to it.
last run
I'm
was
really
ridiculous.
looking forward to it.
He's 3 years old and he's not going to be in main event shape. He looks pretty good in shape to me.
I mean, I wouldn't want to face him in a dark alley. That's
yeah, exactly. All right, well, of course, we're going to see what's going to happen. Obviously, we got to see the results tomorrow night. Raw might not even win, so as far as him getting a shot at the title, it might not even happen. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night. And let's go into the thing that, that's been kind of silent in a way in the last couple of weeks. Of course, you had the big match with Nakamura, and that's Seth Rollins. And the turn from Ambrose, turning on him on a night that Roman Reigns told the WWE Universe that he had leukemia. We haven't really discussed it. D-Shep, we haven't got your take on this. What is your take on the turn with Dean Ambrose?
I feel like it's if you're watching a movie at the movie theater and you're expecting a 2-hour blockbuster and it goes 2 hours and 30 minutes instead, is what I'm kind of feeling like. It feels a lot slower paced out than it needs to be. Like, I'm not feeling the energy from it yet. That has to do a lot with the way they're having Dean presented, with the not talking a lot. Yeah, he started to talk a little here. Rollins has been talking the whole time, but it just, I don't know. It doesn't have that organic feel to it. I almost watched them have a debate like on this past Monday,
and we'll be playing that.
I feel like their heart isn't into it because they're so close in real life, and we all know they're close in real life.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us are stupid enough to believe that their friendship outside of the business is up for, it doesn't feel smooth to me. It just feels like something that's dragged out, even though it's only been a few weeks.
Well, of course, we'll see, because obviously they were focused on with the match with Nakamura. And they were still, trying to go along with the show in the process of getting ready.
Speaking of that, though, I think they poo-pooed the living shit out of Rollins versus Nakamura, too. I think that could have had a little bit more energy to the back and forth, even though they're on two different shows, and I get that. But I feel like...
Yeah, but everyone else has pretty much done it.
I feel like nobody cares about that match. We just all are waiting for the Ambrose and Rollins eventual showdown. We're kind of bypassing this match tomorrow.
Well, when you go into the first match, that's when you're going to see it really heat up, I think. Again, I think they were just holding it off a little bit. They were slowing it up because of the match with Nakamura. Now, once you get beyond Survivor Series, that's when I think you're going to see it go like 80 miles per hour. At least that's how I see it. Mac, if you had a point to that, go ahead.
Well, he brought up the Nakamura Rollins deal. There could have been some build to that. I mean, you could have done both at the same time. Just imagine this. A couple weeks ago, Rollins is out there after the attack, yelling for Dean Ambrose to come out. Ambrose shows up in the crowd, doesn't say a word. How great would it have been while Rollins is facing the opposite corner from the exit or entrance ramp, Nakamura comes down there and does his little nut shot. Just something to throw us a bone to say, hey, this match is about to happen. Build on it. Somehow Nakamura gets involved in their little feud just to get get the ante up on.
Does anybody
or
even
throw fuel to the
remember?
fire. I get what you're saying.
Anybody even remember without looking it up what Nakamura said about Rollins on SmackDown? Because I sure as hell don't.
No.
I know he
No, I
said
couldn't tell you.
something. I know he said, yeah, you don't have to get it for me. That's the point. It wasn't impactful because you don't remember it. You have to look it up because you don't remember what he said. I don't know.
Wow, TP said this. Brock versus Cena. Cena breaks record and gets redemption. Lock it up. Brock versus anyone in the main event is obviously going to be the plan. So that could be his, yeah. Hey.
But believe it or not, he's got a point there. I mean,
It would sell.
you've killed so much. That is about the only way that you're going to make the Universal title something somebody wants to watch. None of us three are going to want to see that, obviously.
Cena got his ass whooped by 80-year-old Undertaker in less than 10 minutes last Mania. You can't do that at Mania to that poor man. Come on, man.
Calm down,
He's
calm down.
got hair
If I
now.
had the
You want
soundboard,
Cena to lose his hair all over again?
if we had the
Come
sound,
on, man.
calm down. If we had the soundboard, you know what? Hold on. I'm just going to do it.
If
D-Shep.
Brock,
Into piece.
so let me finish this off with this. If
Okay.
Brock beat Cena in 5 minutes the first time, and that was when Cena was still kind of full time, what the fuck do you think is going to happen when Cena has one match in 2 years and then faces Brock Lesnar?
Well, hold on. D-Shep. He's got the 6th move of doom this time.
Oh,
Let's be fair. Let's be fair.
Your shitty Philadelphia Phillies hat has a better chance of beating Brock Lesnar than John Cena does.
And then I got the hat of the century, my friend.
Now, I do want to throw one out there at you.
All right. Let's go. Hurry up with this. My God.
Is there anybody that, rumor mill wise, you could see joining the company that you wouldn't mind seeing somehow sneaking into that?
A new person
Mega.
or an old person?
Omega.
Well, what about the American Nightmare?
Oh, God, no. Don't do it, please. Cody, don't do it.
I would be all, but if,
Cody, don't
in
do
all
it.
honesty, if we're doing a WrestleMania match that I want to see, give me Cody Rhodes against McIntyre as a main event. I'll take that in a heartbeat.
TP says Omega versus Brock. That I would actually pay for. Big time.
Absolutely.
That I would definitely pay. Honestly, I don't want Cody. Cody, stay in New Japan. Just go there full time. He would be in creative limbo the moment he gets past WrestleMania. He'd be Stardust again. Don't do it. For the love of God, don't. Cody's not a main eventer in WWE. Yeah, because he's too talented. That is why. And he's not that big of a guy.
Cody's
No,
smart,
he
though.
absolutely is a main
Cody's
eventer in
smart,
WWE.
though. If he's going to come back to WWE,
SmackDown.
he is going to get one of them contracts where he has the Jericho Cena type freedom. He's not going to come back with an open contract that they can just boss him around like they did before. Otherwise,
he did
Cody's
make
going
a
to
name
stay
for
right where
himself.
is it. If you see Cody come back, he's going to come back on the deal that's right for him, though. He's not stupid.
Well, and what we're seeing from NXT and SmackDown, he is absolutely a main eventer now.
Oh,
The
definitely.
style of wrestling has changed so much in the past 2 years. It's crazy. Now, Raw, not so much, but SmackDown, for sure.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the Dream match if Velveteen Dream goes to SmackDown too? You got Cody versus Dream.
You know what? We were kind of discussing
man.
that yesterday.
Yeah.
We were talking about Goldust and Velveteen. That would be awesome to see because that is two quirky type of characters. One from the past, one from the future. You know, now the future of the company. I would like to see that. That would be pretty cool. But that
And
I like
there's
too, Cody
honestly, there's so much you could do with Cody at this point with what we do coming up from NXT. I mean, just think of the possibilities. Gargano against Rhodes would be phenomenal. Obviously, everybody knows I'm a mark for Adam Cole. Give me Cole against Cody Rhodes all day long. But there's just so much potential that would be main events for Cody Rhodes.
All right. Well, you know what? We talk about all these possibilities, but you know what? Let's get back on hand to Ambrose and Rollins. Let's get into the promo that started the response, and then we got to the response from Ambrose. It started with an interview with Seth Rollins. Corey asked him Corey Graves asked him about his mental state ahead of his match with Shinsuke Nakamura at Survivor Series, and he responded with, "To be honest with you, I don't give a damn about Nakamura. His focus clearly on his former tag partner, Dean Ambrose." Rollins then went on to question his manhood, and then from there, he showed up on screen and said this. And I think I shared the sound with you, so... Oh.
Jeez, why I gotta put the government name out there? Fucking dick.
What?
Nothing.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Alright. There you go. And you can hear it, right?
And enough to come say it. Don't ever accuse me.
Okay, there you go.
Man enough to do anything. I'm man enough to get out of this cold, come into that arena, and beat the holy hell out of you right now. But I'm not gonna do that. Because you all don't deserve that. I don't know you an explanation. I don't know these people an explanation. I don't know anybody anything.
I can't wait to point out my least favorite part of it.
Already.
Like they could use a shower. These people with no manners. They want to spit on me, call me names, throw things at me. With their, "Why, Dean? Why did you turn your back on your brothers? Why this night?" Your architect doesn't have all the answers this time, does he? What do you want to know, Seth? Are you wondering maybe I shouldn't have talked to Dean like he was an imbecile so much? Shouldn't have treated him like a charity case so much? Are you wondering maybe did something go wrong? What changed with Dean? Or maybe you're realizing Dean Ambrose has been the same guy this whole time. I was just too selfish and too self-absorbed to see anything else that was going on around me. Maybe I regret my actions. Maybe I am remorseful. Maybe I hope that one day my brothers can forgive me for what I have done. No, that's not it. The truth is, I used to think the Shield was stronger together. I used to think that this symbol made me strong. I used to think that wearing this made me strong. But the truth is, the Shield made me weak. You made me weak. Roman made me weak. The burden of being your brother, the burden of having to watch your back made me weak. But every day is a new day. A chance to be reborn. A chance to take the past.
Oh, here we go. We got a nice big old barrel with fire right there, but let's pour some extra gas on the motherfucker. Like, really?
And there you go. And he sets the vest on fire now. Okay. Of course, I mean, that was it right there. And then right there, Rollins drops the mic, goes in the back, and then you didn't really see anything after that. I mean, first the question I want to ask is, I know you, D-Shep, I'm going to go with you because obviously you have a beef with the ending part. But other than that, what did you think of the promo before he did what he did with what you have a problem with?
It was weak.
It was weak?
It honestly was, because had he did, let's say, something in the ring physically to Rollins, maybe even talked a little shit in the ring, and then he went to the back and threw his Shield gear, and then when it was just a barrel, then he threw some gas in the barrel with the vest and everything else, and then lit it on fire, okay, that might have been more impactful. But that shit, him sitting on a fancy sports car trying to act tough and talk shit, it came across as weak. The one thing I might add is it has nothing to do with what we've seen on Raw, but they showed an hour-long special after TakeOver called the Dean Ambrose Chronicle. It was an hour-long program. If you want to talk about some of the stuff they should have did on Raw for this feud, watch that hour-long program, because then everything else that you've seen will make more sense.
Okay, and that's probably the reason why they did that. Matt Griff, what did you think of the promo?
I've kind of got mixed reactions on this one. I do go in line with D-Shep. I did see it a little bit weak. I think there's a lot more they could have done with it. But at the same time, I'm kind of on a different side of this as he is, because I'm enjoying the slow play of this. I understand they're doing part of that for Survivor Series.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying that old school type feel to where they're slow playing, and then at some point we're going to see it all of a sudden ramp up and we got 100 miles an hour week to week to week. I just hope they don't burn it out getting to that point is my only fear with it.
Yeah, it seemed like he was uncomfortable at first, and he kind of eased into it a little better. But yeah, I agree with both of you. It came out pretty weak. I would like to see where they go further from this. Obviously, you got to wait till after Survivor Series before you see anything big happen. So I would like to see where they go from there. All right. Well, we talked about that. Obviously, you know, that was two big things that happened, but the biggest thing happened at the end of the show. And that was, of course, when the SmackDown women's locker room attacked Raw. And, of course, at the end of the show, when Becky and Ron, it started with the segment when Becky had Ronda in the disarmor in the locker room. And, dude, at this part, before we go any further, what did you guys think of that to start the segment?
The greatest segment that Raw has seen in months. Got ruined by some BS at the end. But for the first 90% of that, oh my God.
All right.
That was beautiful.
Absolutely.
Okay, so not a bad way to start it off. So then, of course, personnel came into the locker room, broke them up. She made her way to the ring and joined the SmackDown women's locker room, attacking Raw's women's locker room. And that's when until Ronda came out. And then she came out with the one arm because she was hurt. But, of course, she was starting to attack the, you know, the roster. And then eventually Becky grabs the chair and starts hitting her with it. But then you realize something about her as she was hitting her with the chair. She was busted open pretty bad. Bleeding all over Ronda. Bleeding all over herself. Of course, after falling victim to the chair shot, Becky retreated along with the SmackDown women's locker room. They go into the crowd, up the steps, and it ended with the show with Becky on top, raising her hand. Man, what a strong way to end Raw. And would you say that was the best way to end, even though it's a 5-on-5 Survivor Series match, and your potential, at the time it was going to be your champion versus champion match, wasn't that the best way going into the go-home show? The final blow, the final encounter before the show.
10 out of 10, no doubt.
Absolutely. And one other little nugget I want to throw in there.
Yeah.
How many years, every Survivor Series, we see this cross-brand thing happen where one team invades the other team, blah, 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 blah. This one was so far above what every year has ever been. It was unbelievable. And it was fantastic.
I agree with that. And the little nugget I would add is it was much more impactful and you felt it more because it started out as just the Becky on Ronda attack. And then it fed into everything else off of that. Yeah. Whereas all the other attacks, like Magriff was saying, just was like a group mentality kind of attack that was just much of nothing.
Yeah, and Get 'em Jones is throwing something up in chat right now, and it was my exact thinking as I was watching this. He said, I was about to be pissed if they let Ronda beat up the whole SmackDown locker room.
I don't think that would have happened.
The way they've been building her, I was worried that's what was going to happen, and it's going to just destroy everything that Becky has building up.
And
They didn't go
hold
that
on.
route, and
EJ,
hey, kudos to them.
EJ, the stream just went down.
did it?
Oh,
On my Xbox, it did. Yeah, it's down on my PC too.
yep. We're off.
Ah, damn
I'm
it.
gonna grab a drink real quick. No, not yet.
There we go.
Yep.
All right, we're good. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. Of course, trial and error. All right, so what were you saying, D-Shep? You were saying something.
Oh, just that I felt like the whole angle was as perfect as it could be. The only thing I want to add to it, and I know we're about to talk about SmackDown and how she got pulled from the match and conspiracies and all that stuff, but do you think Becky Lynch has Trish Stratus's phone number? And I got a reason for asking that. Do you think she does? Probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do any of us think that Becky's face is broke? It's just probably a busted nose, right? Bad black eye, probably, realistically. So,
Right.
someone needs to explain to me, why can't she wear one of Trish Stratus's old face masks thing?
I'm sure we'll get into that if that is the case, but of course she's got to go through the whole
It's the concussion side. That's the
protocol,
problem.
yeah.
now.
Okay, and then I got something for that too.
All right.
Then explain to me, because last time I checked, if you're in the concussion protocol, you don't appear on TV. And she was on SmackDown the next night.
Yeah, I understand that, and a lot of people feel it is a work because of that, because how they're responding on freaking social media. We got people attacking Nia Jax, and of course Becky attacked Nia Jax. Nia Jax fired back saying the accident's happening. Then you got freaking Ronda with her Instagram post pretty much calling her weak, that you took a legitimate blow and here you are, you're out of a match and she can't compete.
The only reason I brought all that up is because going into the standard match, if Becky had won over Ronda, Becky was already going to the Hall of Fame pretty much. But if Becky beat Ronda while wearing a mask to protect her face, and then at some point during the match got busted back open or something, she would have went from Hall of Famer to just all-time fucking legend status, GOAT status.
You know what's kind of funny? You notice that they keep showing her with the blood, though, when she was up in the steps at the end?
It's like they're playing up on it, but you're not going to get that payoff.
You might. I think they're going to go to WrestleMania with this.
Yeah, but by the time I'm telling you right now, by the time it gets to Mania, you're going to lose some of this momentum you built back up. Granted, yes, I know you're going to have to rebuild it up from scratch. And you all know when you rebuild something up from scratch that was already built up once, it just does not have that same impact.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. But even if you have a couple months removed, obviously either one or two things is going to happen. If she is cleared by TLC, which I don't even know at this point if she is, she will probably drop the title. Or she'll be stripped of it because she can't. Even though she could probably fire back saying, hey, you let Lesnar go 4 months without defending the title and you're going to strip me. But there's a possibility. If they're going to go with that heel run for Shane McMahon that's been rumored, that's one way of getting heat. Now, if he was to do that, she goes into the Rumble. She wins the Rumble. There you go. And, dude, they could probably go 2 months with a nice build with them, too. And look how it was for 2 weeks. I couldn't even imagine a 2-month build between them two going into Mania and potentially getting your first ever main event.
It'd be phenomenal.
You would be with it with the. Are you with it as far as the main event?
I'm with it.
Over a Brock
I'm not
Lesnar main
quite-
event?
I'm not-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not quite there for main event just because I don't know what the rest of the card's going to look like now because it's so up in the air. But is it already one of the top 2 matches? That I would 100% agree with.
I guess we'll see, even if they go that way.
Is it at least going to be bigger than the Undertaker match?
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah. It does seem weird, though, because when you add everything up, it kind of seems like it's a work. Because, like you said, like the camera shot showing her, the responses on social media, which is, I think, is the perfect way the wrestlers should use their social media. I got to say that, because you're furthering the storyline. But it just seems like it was a work. And then, of course, they immediately had that shot of Becky being hit by Nia Jax. So, at the end of the day, do we...
Inadvertent elbow when the fist connected with the...
She followed through. She followed through with that, man. Do you feel like it was do you really think it was accidental at this point? That they said, hey, give it a shot, give her a good shot, or do you think they wouldn't put them in that kind of risk at this? Because the way they are today with the concussion protocol and everything.
Oh, man, I don't even know
I think it
what
would
to
work
think
out
on this
better
one.
for him if it comes out that it was a work at this point. Because you don't want it to come out that it was on purpose. If it was on purpose, that does more to hurt the product than if this was all the work would hurt the product.
But you got a lot of people that think it was a legit fuck up because they're jumping on her on social media. Meaning Nia Jax, she's catching a lot of shit for what happened.
I think it was a fuck up, but I also think it was planned, and then it got fucked up because she was supposed to just love tap with the elbow and she followed through with the fist. So I think the angle was gonna happen anyway. It just happened that she for real connected.
Yeah, but didn't they kind of do that before with Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton? Like they kind of went brutal like that, busted him open.
Yeah, SummerSlam 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay.
Here's my take on it. I do believe it is a work, and my theory behind this is simple. Right now, who is the most over woman there is across the board? Becky
I wouldn't
Lynch,
even
obviously.
say woman. I would say she's the top person.
Probably
Yeah,
so.
she is.
Yeah. Who is the woman that gets the most criticism in any match she ever competes in? And I'll be first one to say I'm one of the worst at criticizing Nia Jax.
Yeah.
No, I would say still Brie Bella.
Oh shit, yeah.
Well,
Remember,
yeah,
he called her the C
but
word.
somebody you're trying to build up right now. They lost a legitimate heel on Alexa Bliss because of injury. They're turning. You can see that they're trying to turn Nia Jax back to heel. You're seeing that little feud with Ember Moon.
I do like the
This
Nia
is the
Jax
perfect way to
Tamina
flip it.
pairing. I do like that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And to me, this was just the biggest way to make sure that a heel character for her gets over. Because what's going to make you hate Nia Jax the most? Put down and really go nasty to the most over person there is in WWE. That's the only theory I can come up with.
That's why I said,
No,
I'm with you. It was a planned work that just happened to go too far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do.
So it ends up doing more for Nia Jax because, like you said, building up the heel than it does anybody. But in the meantime, Becky gets kind of made to look soft because of it, and that's kind of bullshit. But
see, and I don't think she does because to me, and I think that's where things went a little bit astray on it. I think they're throwing that elbow theory out because that's what it was supposed to be, a hard elbow. They were going to dress her up with a black eye, blah, blah, blah. That's not what ended up happening. But to me, they made Becky Lynch look like a legitimate badass, standing at the top of the ramp with the blood.
Oh, I agree with the blood, the crowd, the everything.
I think it's actually going to raise her stock.
Well, here's the thing. I get what you're saying, like, with the work, and it went too far, and it didn't hurt her. But isn't it a possibility that a lot of this is to, like, now the goal was at first it was going to be
Anti-time?
it was going to be Charlotte and Ronda. Now it's like, okay, they saw the response from the fans with Becky. You think they called an audible and say, you know what? Now it's going to be Becky and Ronda at WrestleMania.
Well, I think that's 100% part of it.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. They knew they were on gold right there if they build it the right way. You can't pull the Braun Strowman move to Becky Lynch and ruin everything.
No.
You're putting you're basically
Becky,
putting all your eggs in one basket here.
Was Becky so hot that they said, "Whoa, guys, we can't do this match now. We got to save it for Mania"?
Yeah, that's
That
what I'm
part
saying.
of it?
It would, and there's a way you could do it. Have her win the Rumble. That is the easiest way you could do it, and give her that 2-month build, and it would be definitely good for them if they do it that way. And
No,
now,
I think it'd be good, but I don't think Becky needs it. And regardless of how they did this, is all I was kind of trying to get to, is that she's at that all-time status now. I don't see anybody being able to knock her off that pedestal.
Now, are we looking at this the wrong way? Because every time we've talked about this, we've came up with the same storyline. Becky drops the title. She wins the Rumble. We have that 2-month build. What if we're looking at this backwards? What if it's Ronda that drops the title to Nia Jax, wins the Rumble, which I think is better suited for Ronda to do, and Becky holds the title all the way to WrestleMania, and Ronda jumps ship to SmackDown, which is going to what network again?
that is a good point. Going to Fox and next fall.
So I didn't think about that to just now, but maybe we're looking at this backwards. Maybe it's Becky that keeps the title the whole way, and it's Ronda that ends up dropping it, winning the Rumble, and moves over to SmackDown.
But here's the problem. You have a lot of legitimate women wrestlers that could possibly take down Ronda Rousey on the Raw side. Is there anyone on the SmackDown besides Becky that could possibly be believable to take her down?
Absolutely. Asuka, Charlotte.
Sonya? Do you think?
Sonya Deville. There you go.
Okay. All right. So now that I was thinking about it, you know what? Yeah, there is some. You know what? That is a pretty good theory. I didn't even think about that because we're all thinking about the other way around. And all along, you're thinking the Fox Sports deal that they, landed. They're going there. And that's a way that you could get her over on that roster without doing the mix-up that they do after WrestleMania. So it would already be there. It'd be there for WrestleMania. That's a pretty good theory, man. Well, again, we'll see what happens. That's all we can do. But either way, you could see it happen. You're going to see Ronda, Becky. Who's chasing? Who's the champion? That remains to be seen. You really opened my eyes to that one. Good job there.
Thank you.
All right. Well, now that we covered everything we wanted to cover about on Raw, here we'll go to the point. We're going to rate the show real quick, and then we'll go on to the SmackDown side. Going in, rating it 1 to 5, the go-home show to Survivor Series. Well, how would you rate it from 1 to 5? Starting with you, D-Shep.
A 2. Mainly just because of the end. Like I said, I wasn't really feeling the Ambrose segment. It was and there really wasn't a lot that grabbed my attention. The one other thing that grabbed my attention on Raw that we did not talk about is my man Elias is knocked out of the fucking park, and I fucking love that. But besides Elias and the main event stuff with the invasion, I really don't care about Raw.
Okay. What about you, Matt? Would you rate it?
I would have given it a 3.5. Again, what holds it back is the weakness of that promo was obviously a holdup. But outside of that, there was a lot of good points throughout this show. And D-Shep just nailed it. With Elias,
yeah, we should have covered that. I'm sorry.
Elias lost the match, but WWE actually did something right. They made him lose by countout, right? So now we got Lashley, who's been on a good run, even though to me it's just I can't buy into it. And you got Elias finally getting some kind of story and building, and you didn't make him look weak by getting a clean loss. So with all that said, 3.5 from me.
I'm going with a 3. Like you said, the promo could have been so much better. Then they show how how important the tag team division is on Raw, which is hardly even important at all. Because when you interrupt it, a Battle Royal for the Survivor Series match, to further the storyline with Braun Strowman, then you bring him back out. How are you supposed to take that seriously? I did like.
So let me ask you.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I ask you guys a question. Normally, I'm not one to bitch about the ratings, but I'm trying to see. Okay, we all love the invasion angle. So how many points out of 5 do you give the invasion, and where are you giving other points on Raw then? Because it wasn't the Ambrose promo.
2-5 on the ending. I did like what they did with Braun Strowman. I did like that. I just didn't like how they did it as far as interrupting that match for the tag team, because it really just belittled the fucking tag team division. And again, we don't even know where they're going to go with that, if they're going to go with Strowman facing Corbin. But I did kind of like how they did that. They just threw something out there.
The Braun and Stephanie interaction, yeah, that was pretty all right. But the other stuff with Braun just came across as weak too, though. I'm not normally one to disagree on other people's thoughts, but I was just trying to find where you guys seen the positive.
No.
That's
I see where you're
alone at the end. Go ahead.
I know where you're coming from, and I'm probably a little bit high on this because I also forgot about the tag team debacle. But as for where I saw points, I enjoyed like the opening segment was a good one for me. And y'all are going to laugh at me for one of these matches that I actually enjoyed. But Tamina against Ember Moon, I actually enjoyed that match. There wasn't much there.
I do like
but it was good.
And Tamina. And I love Ember Moon getting buried. People on Twitter don't like it. I don't really give a fuck, but I can't stand her. But
well, that's your thing.
I don't.
Hey, I'm not shitting on anything. Okay, well, now that we're going on from Raw, let's go to SmackDown. Of course, this is the go-home show to Survivor Series for SmackDown. And, well, let's address a couple things real quick. Going on to what Matt Griff said with his theory about them going to Fox Sports. And we have seen it is more of a wrestling show than Raw. But I know some people ain't liking Jeff Hardy, but I got to say, to start the covering SmackDown, they had we have the other things we're going to cover, but 2 good matches on that show. Andrade Cien Almas against Hardy, and The Miz versus Rey Mysterio. Of course, Almas got the loss, and so did Miz. Overall, what do you guys think of those 2 matches? I mean, you got to love the fact that they do more quality wrestling matches on SmackDown.
They were both great matches. The Miz and Mysterio, I honestly didn't care who won that match. I knew that match was going to be a good match. That didn't matter to me. But Jeff Hardy had absolutely zero business winning that match.
Yeah,
it was a great match. Hardy did show good things in the match. I won't dispute that. But that win does absolutely zero for him.
No, and honestly, you should, at this point, he's a veteran. He's on his way out. Come on.
Is he on his way out?
Yeah, within a year or 2. But Almas is like at the point he's an enhancement talent. And come on, he is way beyond that.
Almas belongs on that SmackDown team.
He does, but he shouldn't be where he's at.
That's some bullshit.
He's way too talented to be a fucking enhancement talent. If anything, at this point, Jeff
Hardy
should be that guy.
He shouldn't be an enhancement. He should be on the fucking team.
Yeah.
And one of the guys you're building up as a new star at Survivor Series, not some bum moving them.
Well, and it goes more than that. He should have been in the World/US Cup for sure. That's where it should have started for him.
It should have started right after that first match he had with AJ Styles.
Oh, absolutely. He's a phenomenal talent. And you guys know how I feel about Jeff Hardy. I'm not going to crap on him too hard during this one because he did a great job in this match. He actually put on a good match. It was kind of a flashback Jeff Hardy. I saw some stuff I saw 15 years ago that I used to really enjoy from him. But the way you continuously keep burying Almas, I get it. He's going against some big-name guys that have held the belts and stuff. But now you've got him losing to Styles several times. You've got him losing to Jeff Hardy and I forget who else. But it's just been one after another. This guy's got to pick up some wins. It's ridiculous. He's one of the biggest talents there is, and you're doing the Finn Balor Elias thing to him. And it
Who
pisses
wins
me
a
off.
match first on SmackDown? Samoa Joe or Omnis?
Joe.
Probably.
Yeah, it is kind of weird how they're
Why
just
can't these guys
over
win
Almas.
matches?
over Almas. Yeah, it is so weird that you have
Kurt
talent.
Hawkins probably before both of them, though.
Yeah, yeah. Jesus. My only thing is that why'd you bring him up then? Only to bury him. Doesn't it seem like Vince is like, fuck your pet project, Paul? Fuck your pet project. Obviously, is there a sense of jealousy? Doesn't it seem like, oh, Vince is like, fuck, man, this is a better product than me. Oh, I'm just going to bury it. That, to me, when I'm seeing what he's doing to all the talent coming up from NXT, that's all I can see, is that the fact that he's burying all the talent that's coming up from there.
Mm-hmm.
It just, to me, it's jealousy. That's the only way I can interpret it. There's no other way. How do you put a guy like Andrade Cien Almas and make him an enhancement talent and job to fucking Jeff Hardy? What does he have to do? What has he done? Or what hasn't he done in the WWE that
Like,
warrants him to do it? To get this.
If you flip-flop that,
Yeah.
and you have returning Rey Mysterio beating on this, I could almost put a little respect behind that because we all have so much respect for Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
But Jeff Hardy, we're all like, what the fuck? Like, it makes no sense.
Well, and I couldn't even get behind the Mysterio one. If it's the Miz beating Almas, okay, I can see that one because I know where you're going with the Miz at this point. I know he's being pushed, and rightfully so. Mysterio is, and to me, Mysterio's kind of in the same boat with Almas right now. I don't know where they're going with him. I've got to
they're
take.
going with him beating Randy Orton to top off that feud someday. And that's fine, but in the meantime, it makes Ray look kind of weak, even though he had a great match with Miz.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Almas is the one that just ticks me off the most. If it was me booking him, he would not have left NXT. I think there was a lot of fuel there. I mean, if you get me set up to see Adam Cole versus Almas for the title next takeover before WrestleMania, and then we're going to see one of those guys jump the main roster from there, that's a perfect setup for them to go at that point. But you just kind of robbed all the NXT fans of what would have been one of the greatest matches in NXT history.
All right. Well, yeah, I just hope they do something with him later. And maybe they will, because like they did with Elias, they might throw him a bone eventually. And I'm hoping the program will be like someone like Rey Mysterio, with that Mysterio can finally get him over. And
It would be the good program to do after Ray, finishes with Orton, to then do a lengthy program with Omnis and Mysterio. It would make sense.
yeah.
Well, and D-Shep wasn't here for the show I talked about Mysterio.
yeah.
I went through all the titles. The only title Rey Mysterio has never held in WWE is the United States Championship. In my opinion, Mysterio should win that title, complete the collection, and then going further into that, give me that feud. Mysterio versus Almas. Almas takes the title off Mysterio from there.
Well,
Yeah.
could you
I like that.
do that? Can you do that as soon as TLC and throw
No.
Mysterio, Omnis, Orton, and Shinsuke all up in there? Like a 4 or 6 way?
But kind of like a Money in the Bank type situation for the United States title.
TLC,
Yeah.
so it has to be
Right.
It has to be a ladder match, don't it?
But
Yeah, but here's my only problem with that, because we've got to have Orton and Mysterio one-on-one to come to a head. So do you have Randy Orton win the title at TLC and then Royal Rumble, those two face off with each other?
Don't know.
yeah,
Or
too
you
short
do
of a time to
Orton
do
and
anything like
Mysterio
that.
before TLC on SmackDown.
Good question.
Yeah. All right. Let's move along. Overall, the whole point was that it's like I enjoy watching SmackDown because you get more professional wrestling matches than you do on Raw. And we're going to see probably more of that when they go over to Fox next fall.
And you get hugs too. You get hugs.
We're going to get into that right now, and that's Becky. Of course, it came out to address the WWE Universe. Of course, it started off with Paige introducing the whole SmackDown women's locker room, and then she introduced Becky. Becky came out, and of course, she had to tell the WWE Universe that she could not participate in the match with Ronda Rousey at Survivor Series. From there, she had to find a replacement. And, of course, she walks down the line. And it's funny because she walked past Charlotte, which we all knew where she was going to go back. But some people thought I read social media where people were thinking that she was going to go with Asuka. And eventually, she did pick Charlotte. Now, this is the thing. When she picked Charlotte, she said, please make Ronda tap out.
Yeah, that was good.
All right, I like that part. She shook her hand. And
that was good.
And then she gave her a hug.
Oh.
Okay, now here's my thing. I'm going to say why I liked it. And I know, hold on. Just hear me out, okay? You got your thing knocked up, man. Okay, man? Okay, here we go.
Okay, man.
Okay, man? Okay, man. Hey, Fearless, what's up? All right, here we go. Now, she gave her a hug for a reason. I think she's roping her in for the ultimate betrayal at Survivor Series. I think, yes, you're right with your protocol that if she was really concussed, really bad, she would not be on the show. Now, with that being said, you don't think she will be at Survivor Series knowing that she was on SmackDown? And you don't think in any way she could get physical in some kind of way and cost Charlotte?
I think you're reading too much into it that we're going to get another Becky and Charlotte.
I think we will. And I think, and again, if we go with...
If you're right, I'm going to drive to Pennsylvania and kick your fucking ass because I have no interest in seeing that feud again. Becky beat her twice. I do not need to see that shit again.
One last match, and she drops the title. Going in the Rumble, winning the Rumble, facing Ronda.
Charlotte, I ain't never watching SmackDown.
One way or another, she's going to do something to get more heat, and people are going to like it, not hate it. I think she's going to do something. She's going to do something in that match. And I think everyone's reading into it like, what the fuck? Why would you do that?
If Becky beats up Charlotte to cost Charlotte the match, that's going to make the fans cheer for Becky more.
That's what I'm saying. Either way, regardless of what she tries to do, they're going to cheer. She's over. I'm just saying. I think she's sucking her in.
I think you're way the fuck off on this one.
I may be, but that's how I saw it. You see it differently. We don't have to agree on everything.
I want them to give you a
fucking communist bastard. Shut the fuck up. I don't want us to agree on the same thing. Jesus Christ.
Shande.
Do a salute.
Well, speaking of, when Brock beat the shit out of Jinder Mahal, that shit was hilarious.
It was. Shande. Okay, so here we go. Let's go on with it. We discussed it. Is it possible that they're going to swap these dream matches due to how Becky is hot right now? We obviously agree that that's probably what they're going to do. And we did discuss if they're potentially in the main event. I'd like it. D-Shep, you don't see it. Of course, Bagriff kind of sees it.
I don't see it yet, but I see it as a possibility.
You think it could eventually be that way?
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Also, I mean... Here's the one thing I got to say as far as, because I know a lot of people may like Rousey, some people may not like her as much, but we can't deny the year that she has had. Is there any wrestler that has had the year she has had? We all know, and I said this before, I made the point with Kurt Angle, but I don't think Kurt Angle did what she did in her first year. Even though
if it wasn't for what Becky is doing, we would be talking about Ronda more.
Yeah. And you're correct. You're absolutely correct. We would be talking about that because here's a woman that came in, first match of WrestleMania, knocked it out of the park with Kurt Angle, going against Stephanie Triple H. And then a few months later, winning the Raw Women's title, potentially holding it to WrestleMania. And what an ultimate goal would be to bring what she not only she did in the UFC, but did it in the WWE and having the first ever main event and a main show, especially the biggest show of the year, WrestleMania. I think that no one could ever top that kind of first year if she was to pull that off. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Start with you, D-Shep.
No, I pretty much agree with that. I think I'm disappointed we didn't get to see Becky Ronda now, but I do understand it at the end of the day.
I think we all do.
It could have the bigger impact at Mania. It could potentially be a main event, and I get all that. Mm-hmm. You're going to take the two hottest women in WWE in probably the last 5 years easy, and you're going to put them on your top show of the year. The sky's the limit. Plain and simple.
Oh, yeah. Definitely the sky's the limit. What about you, Matt Griff? What are you feeling that could anyone top that first year if she was to pull that off?
No, absolutely not. And, I've said this about her in the past. Are there still rough points in her game? Absolutely. She definitely needs help on the mic. That's for sure.
She's getting better, though.
It's what I was about to say. Although compared to what she was to present, whole different story. I just wish she would quit smiling so freaking much as she's cutting these promos. Outside of my criticism there, for somebody to come in like she did in a completely different style than what she's used to and take over the business like she has, hats off to her. Great job. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen anybody in the history do anything like that. I mean, we've seen some great first years between Kurt Angle. AJ Styles had a hell of a first year.
Oh, yeah.
But Rousey is just right now in a league of her own in that category.
Yeah, and I was thinking, like, when I was thinking about the question to ask you guys, I was thinking who was potentially close. Of course, Kurt Angle, but Kurt Angle probably would have had that ultimate if he would have kept that title going into WrestleMania X7, facing Austin for the title. Obviously, that didn't happen. We got Rock and Austin, too. And then you would have had that, but then equivalent would have been Ronda. But, again, if she pulls that off, man, it would be awesome. Awesome for the company. Awesome for the Women's Revolution. And, of course, awesome for Ronda because she pulled off something that's never been done. And especially Becky should be proud.
But at the same time, and this goes back to my theory from earlier,
what's that?
Even if she doesn't hold that title till WrestleMania and she goes on, she wins the Royal Rumble, that's going to be obviously a huge milestone there. Second person ever to win the Royal Rumble, or second woman ever to win the Royal Rumble. And then she jumps to SmackDown, potentially beats Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, and now she's the second woman to ever win both Raw and SmackDown titles. The only other one is Alexa Bliss.
No, it makes sense if she does drop
either way
it against Nia, too, because
Charlotte. That's right.
She's been on TV so much lately, Ronda has. She's almost due for about a month or 2 month break. So you have her drop the title at TLC, and then you don't see her for 2 months until the Rumble, and she comes back, wins it, goes, beats Becky. It makes sense.
And to me, it sets, even with this work, non-work, whatever it is, it makes sense to build her, to turn Nia into this huge heel, be able to take the title off Ronda, and it just sets everything in place for Ronda to win that Royal Rumble. She chases Nia for a while or whatever and keeps getting screwed. Wins the Royal Rumble, takes on Becky. To me, the writing's on the wall for the whole setup to this. Now, how they build the feud's a whole different deal. We'll see where they go there.
Again, it's going to go down who's going to be champion, who's going to be chasing. And that's the only way we're going to find out is within next month and Rumble. That's how we're going to find out. It is pretty obvious. This is the obvious title match between these two. You know they're going to go at it.
Now,
what if it's going to be an event and who's going to be champion?
I do want to make one point, though.
Sure.
When this whole women's evolution thing started, I was not in a big favor of it because, we've never seen it be something really relevant.
Yeah.
They saw something way ahead of what I did because, honestly, we've been on the air for an hour and a half now.
Yeah.
And I bet you we spent half of our time talking about the women. What they're doing inside WWE right now is unbelievable. And hats off to them.
Yep. And you're going to see that Austin-esque character in Becky. And whether the money's going to be made, it could potentially be that way. I'll tell you right now, they need to make a shirt. of her busted open like they did with fucking Austin back in 1997. Do it. Do it if you want to make money, because they're going to make money hand over fist. And it's only been up for 34 minutes because we lost signal and went off the air for about a minute. Fearless.
You said a guy trying to be a smartass in the background and realizes he has a small penis.
So, and there's one. In D-Shep, I was talking to EJ about this one the other day, and I just wanted to throw it out there to you and see what and see what you thought about it. Something I think they should do with Becky is bring Austin in. I know we all hate bringing these legends in to do stuff, but if Austin does it the right way and comes in and builds her up, shares a beer with her, and says something about Austin 316, she says, well, no, Lynch 316 just said, get the hell out of my ring or whatever.
Oh, dude.
How priceless would that be, and how much would it raise her stock?
Honestly, she just... Fuck 316, do 632. Double that shit.
Rumor has it Stone Cold stopped drinking beer, though.
Yeah, he did. And he said it isn't for good. He said it isn't
Yeah, he said
good.
it's temporary.
It's temporary. Relax. Relax. Hell hasn't frozen over yet. Relax. Okay? All right. Now, are we all good? Can we move on to the main event? Can we talk about that?
I guess.
Well, someone's not too happy. All right. I'm loving the fact that he's not happy about that. Let's go right into it.
I didn't say I wasn't
happy. Your reaction to it. I thought you weren't like it. Yeah, okay, we'll get into it. Here we go. The main event of the evening, of course, we're going to talk about earlier in that night. In the beginning of the show, AJ Styles came out and addressed the WWE Universe about his upcoming match with Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. And at some point, Paul came out from the crowd to respond to AJ Styles, cut a good promo, and at one point he mentioned that he was second best to Daniel Bryan. They go back and forth, and then, of course, Styles ignored what he said Lesnar limped out of the last match, Survivor Series last year, and he's gotten better at submissions, he's gotten better overall, and he will make him tap this time at Survivor Series. That, and then, out of nowhere, Bryan came out, said if he was to bring up his name again, that they will fight. Of course, Styles tested him by saying his name, and started a fight between the two, in which a lot of personnel had to come out to break him up. Of course, it continued backstage, in which Shane made the match between the two for the title. And here we are at the main event. But before we get into that, when you heard the match, and we'll start with you, D-Shep, when you heard the match being announced, did you instantly have a feeling that history was going to repeat itself with the title changing hands just days before Survivor Series?
I did. But I did not like the way they executed it. I agree that Daniel Bryan needed to turn heel eventually.
Yeah.
But I just do not think this was the spot. If you were going to go with Brock versus Bryan, it comes off 10 times more believable if Bryan's the face. In this scenario, with these two guys off the fresh heel turn, I just don't buy into it. But as far as what you were asking, as far as when the match was announced, I definitely think or thought right away that Bryan was getting the belt.
I felt the same way, too. I instantly thought it was just how it was going to happen. I did not expect a heel turn, but I thought it was going to change hands. All right, so you got my take, D-Shep's take, Magriff. When you heard it, what'd you think?
I'm in complete agreement with you guys. As soon as it got announced, I had no doubts who was walking out as champ.
All right, and there we go. We go into the match. Great back-and-forth match between the two. Of course, most of Bryan's attack, his offense was the attack of the left arm of AJ setting up for the yes-lock, which was good classic wrestling. Then you had a false finish towards the end with the yes-lock. Tried to go for it again. Failed at it. And at the end of the match, AJ went for the phenomenal forearm, and then this happened. Oh.
That was cute. You try to sound so dramatic.
Making fun of me?
My team and I
of course.
You were making fun of me like 5 minutes ago.
Because I'm loud. I'm fucking breaking your balls. It's all good. Alright, there we go. Skip the ad because, of course, my thing... I got to set up a new... Yep. Here we go.
What's Bryan thinking? Guys, the official didn't see it. The official had been knocked down. The official didn't see the low blow by Daniel. Bryan's got a crazed look in his eyes right now. Styles can't
Poor
even
Styles.
That poor guy's been hitting the junk more than anybody I've ever seen.
There we go.
What is with everybody in his junk, though?
2, 3. And just like that. Okay, one thing I gotta say, when he had his arm raised at that point, that look kind of sold me a little bit. All right.
No, see, Daniel Bryan sold the heel turn.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into
This was not the spot for it, but Daniel Bryan did his damnness to pull it off.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right there. And of course, that was courtesy of WWE.com, so we don't get in trouble. All right. First of all, let's go. First question. Start with you, McGriff. What did you think of the match overall?
This goes hand in hand with what happened. Was it last week? Maybe a week before? I'm getting my days mixed up.
Yeah.
It was a good match. Did it live up to what these two were capable of? No, not even close. But it was a great match, and it's something I wasn't expecting going into this SmackDown. So, in that sense, I thoroughly enjoyed the match, but I'm more excited about what's to come.
Yep, same here. All right, D-Shep, what did you think of the match?
Overall, it was good. It was a little shorter than I would have liked because it was on SmackDown and not a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But any time you can get a main title change like that on a Raw or SmackDown, it's always great. It's much more impactful. Like I said, my only gripe was with the heel turn, but besides that, great match.
And yeah, I like the fact that they did it, because think of the biggest matches of title changes. Mick Foley, Mankind, when he beat The Rock in 1999. Last year with AJ Styles when he beat Jinder Mahal for the championship. Jericho, even though it was taken back from him when he beat Triple H in 2000. I mean, it's awesome when you see things like this not happen on a pay-per-view, but on a TV show. And I get with you what you were saying, D-Shep. It could have been better if it was on pay-per-view. But for the match, a match of that quality on a TV show, I'm okay with it. And I did like the old-fashioned attack that Bryan did in there. And, of course, the ending, it's sinking in, but I am excited for the possibilities of the heel.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, too. I didn't want to make it seem like I was poo-pooing it altogether, but
yeah, that's
it's
fine.
just, it didn't feel like the right time, but I am excited to see where it goes.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. What are your thoughts about AJ Styles finally dropping the title at this point? Do you feel like they should have went with the run, had him go to Royal Rumble, break the modern-day record so they can finally put it to bed that he is the official modern-day record holder for longest reign? Because we can't accept, and neither are the fans going to accept, Brock Lesnar's Universal run. So, McGriff, what did you feel? Do you feel like they should have kept the title on him, or was this the right time for him to drop it?
I'm struggling with this one because I don't have a problem, one, with Daniel Bryan taking the title.
Yeah.
But it's not how I would have booked it. If I'm booking it, I want AJ to carry the title all the way to Royal Rumble. That's where Daniel Bryan takes the title.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a Raw superstar to be unnamed. I won't throw it out there this time, be a mark for the guy. Win the Royal Rumble. Therefore, I've got Daniel Bryan
And The Miz
versus AJ Styles versus The Miz at WrestleMania.
I'd like that. I do like that. Even if it was just, if it wasn't a triple threat, if it was just, because you know what I'm seeing now? I don't know if you guys are seeing this. A possible face turn for The Miz. Am I the only one that's kind of getting that sense that that might happen?
God, I hope not.
I hope not either. He does such a great job. Yeah, it would be. It's like Ric Flair being a face. Doesn't work. He's a heel. Okay, D-Shep. What's your feelings about him dropping the title at this point?
I was kind of burnt out on AJ personally. I've seen everything that I've needed to see from him. I thought Joe should have been the one to take it off him. I don't agree with Bryan being the guy to take it off him, but I'm not exactly like up in arms about that.
Yeah.
He would have been the second choice for me, but I just would have rather seen Joe get the title. But I'm good with it overall.
Yeah, I kind of wish they kept it to the Rumble, and I get what you're saying. It kind of got played out. I saw a lot of social media interaction with the loss from AJ Styles for the title, and a lot of people saying, you know what, it was time. It just got pretty stale. A lot of people didn't think this reign was even good enough. Like, his first reign was good. This one was like stale from the start, and just didn't get any better. They say like the Nakamura thing, after the second match, it was kind of done from there. That was the majority of people's reactions.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I was burnt out on that.
Yeah. Oh, you got 5 matches out of it. They were good matches, but I mean, you kept it with the low blow. That was their way to continue the angle. It was a little odd, but nonetheless, we got a new champion.
But you never had that Styles versus Miz thing. Is the one I was waiting.
Yeah, we were kind of
waiting for.
Yeah, I was wrong. Because we were all thinking that was the way it was going to go. And it seemed that way. But, of course, up to this past Saturday, which has been reported, that Vince McMahon not only chose for Bryan to be the champion, but also the heel turn. And it's kind of weird because we all thought he was going to be in limbo. He was going to be in purgatory because of what he did back at Crown Jewel. But, man, did they fucking pull the swerve on us. Bravo to creative for actually doing something, because it really shocked and shook the WWE universe. So I applaud them for that.
Was it really creative, though, or was that Vince?
It was shocking. It was shocking because no one expected.
How do you go from the doghouse 2 weeks of what was Crown Jewel? 3 weeks ago now? 4 weeks ago? How do you go from the doghouse to having the title?
I'll tell you how.
Go ahead.
No, it wasn't Vince McMahon. It was Road Dogg.
Did
Road Dogg is the
Brie
biggest.
Bella?
Yeah.
Did somebody pimp out Brie Bella? Is that what
Wait a
happened?
second.
Oh, I fully believe it's Road Dogg being the salesman and doing the writing that he's doing. He knew this would swerve everybody, and I think this is all on him.
Road Dogg sold McMahon on it?
I truly believe that. I think ever since he took over majority of the writing on SmackDown, that's when we started praising it, and I really believe he sold McMahon on this idea.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
No problem.
All right. No. So what did I miss there? I'm sorry.
Road Dogg. That's who I think actually made this call and sold it to Vince McMahon. I truly believe that because ever since he's taken over, he's done such a good job at writing and kind of throwing us off on some things. I think he sold this completely to Vince McMahon, knowing what kind of swerve it was going to be.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, I agree that it was a complete swerve, and bravo to him if he was able to pull that off. Okay, next question now. As far as the timing, was it a good timing to put Daniel Bryan up against Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series? Of course, we know what Daniel Bryan has gone through in the last 4 to 5 years with the injuries, being off the shelf for 2 years, finally getting cleared this year. Now you're going to put him in a match with Brock Lesnar. Now, I don't know if you saw Raw, but Sunil Singh was thrown on his head twice when he was suplexed.
Yeah, he got molested.
Yes, he did. My question, and we'll start with you, Magriff. Is it the right time to put him in a match with Brock Lesnar?
Oh, man. I just keep going back and forth. I mean, if you're going to give him the title right now, then yes, it is the right time. You're really going to push him, even if he goes to Survivor Series and loses and puts on a good showing against Lesnar. All of a sudden, we've got a champion that everybody's going to get behind, especially if he beats Lesnar in a heelish way. It's going to be crazy good for him. But I just can't help but fear the suplexes Brock Lesnar pulls off and the way he works so stiff. What could potentially happen? I'm terrified of that fact. Last thing I want to see is Daniel Bryan go down again.
All right. Well, we got your take. D-Shep, what do you feel? Are you cringing at this point of what could happen?
I'm pretty much, this is the one time I am rooting for the shortest the shortest length of the match possible. Because the shorter it goes, the more chance that Daniel Bryan is still walking the next day.
All right.
Yep.
And pretty much, I don't think this is the right time to answer your first question.
Yeah.
I would have rather seen face Daniel Bryan with a little bit more momentum going for himself before a Brock type match, but I understand, like Magriff said, if you're going to put the belt on him, it has to be the right time then. I'm just hoping it's no more than a 5-minute match, because I would really fear for his safety after 5 minutes.
Okay, and then you got that, and everyone's concerned with this. Now, someone came up with a theory. Bully Ray from Busted Open Radio came up with a good theory to get real heat, legitimate heat, and you might potentially get a Paul Heyman guy, because going back to what I said in the beginning of the show, he said he was AJ Styles was second best to Daniel Bryan, hyping up Daniel Bryan. And if you see in the videos,
that was
backstage for SmackDown, he's a part of SmackDown too. So you see him not only in Raw but SmackDown. Is there a possibility? And I actually could see this happening. Bully Ray said that you don't have these two to face off against one another. You get them in there. Next thing you know, they get in the middle of the ring. They shake hands. They hug. And freaking Heyman comes in. They embrace each other. There is no match. And it will piss off the universe. To the point you get heat for Bryan. And now you got a representative. He represents both champions on both brands. What would you think of that if that was to happen?
It'd be unique, but I have no interest in seeing it, really. But it would be unique.
I kind of like it, man, because you would get a lot of heat. But the question is, pay-per-view buys. You're promoting a match and it doesn't happen. Are people going to be calling for refunds if that doesn't happen? Or you don't get a huge backlash on social media for it? But honestly, I think it would be awesome if they pull something like that. I just don't think they got the balls. But what do you think, Magriff, of what Bully Ray said?
I would like to see it. I mean, and it's not necessarily to see that happen at the pay-per-view, but just to see Heyman bring Daniel Bryan in as a Heyman guy, I think that would be great. But to pull that off, especially at one of your major pay-per-views, the backlash would be insane.
Yeah, and that's legitimate heat. That's what you want. You want that kind of reaction from your fans. But, yeah, it's a different type of fans now. They try to dictate everything. Assholes. Mm-hmm. That's what I don't like. Just enjoy the product. All right, so we addressed that, and we addressed the timing real quick because we discussed briefly about it. We'll start with you, Magriff. Heel turn. Agree or disagree with it?
Well, I disagree with the timing of it. But it had to happen to continue this AJ feud. I think they should have waited till after Survivor Series. But I've got no problem with Bryan going heel. I don't agree with the timing.
Okay, so you're the same with D-Shep. I myself, I agree. But I think we are all excited for what the potential for what he could do. And it's something refreshing. It's something new. The whole yes thing, I'm done with it. I think a lot of people have been done with it, and the fact they changed it up, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what they go on from there.
Speaking on that, I hope they do not bring back the no crap. I hope he
just drops no
and yes altogether.
No, that's fine. I don't think they will. I hope not. All right, so now that we're done with SmackDown, we're going to rate SmackDown from 1 to 5. This is the Go Home Show. Now, Magriff, how good did they do going into Survivor Series? 1 to 5. What do you got?
4.
Nice. All
Solid matches all the way across the card. There are some timing issues like we discussed, but as for Go Home Show and just really pumping up the event, I'll give it a 4.
Okay. What do you got, D-Shep?
I'll give it a 4 too. My only issue was Jeff Hardy winning and the hug and then the heel turn for Bryan. But overall, as far as the matches themselves were concerned, they were perfect. So, yeah, 4.
Uh,
God, on my ass.
This is a unanimous decision where I've also go with 4, and the only reason I didn't go 4 or 5, there's only one thing, and that is your time. We all agree on the timing of that heel turn and all that. Honestly, it would have been a 4 or 5. That one little thing took it away from me. All right. Well, we were gonna NXT. I guess we could discuss it real quick, and then we got to hurry up because we're coming up real late on the show here. We're going real late. NXT. Of course, you had your video packages, you know, hyping yourself up, hyping the people up for TakeOver. Can't wait to watch it when I'm done with this. I'm going to watch a little bit of it. Hanson and Kyle O'Reilly, that was the notable match of the show. Of course, the winner got the advantage at the War Games. O'Reilly won, of course, from the distraction, after distraction from Anna Cole. He got the victory, giving them the advantage going into War Games. Real quick, what'd you guys think of the match? Starting with you, D-Shep.
That's going to be a mistake because I didn't watch NXT this week, but I did watch TakeOver, so I'll have some thoughts about that when we do that.
All right. Well, what did you think of the match? I'm hoping you watched it.
My bad.
Man, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, of course. Our watch along.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're with me on the watch along.
Kyle O'Reilly, I've said it before, I'll say it again, one of the most underrated talents in the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
This is not by any means one of the best matches I've ever seen on NXT, but it was such a good match, and the way O'Reilly can just sell everything blows my mind. And he just so smooth in transitions from one submission to another. So with that all being said, and the way they brought Adam Cole and everybody in, I enjoyed this main event. It really made NXT for this week.
Definitely did. I agree with you on that. All right. It was a good match. Like I said, we discussed that when we were watching the show. Actually, brain farted. I forgot we actually watched the fucking show together yesterday. And we did a reaction show. And I guess we could all agree that, I mean, do we feel more invested in the matches with how they presented the final, you know, I guess, with all the video packages, the final presentation before the show? I mean, did you feel more invested after seeing all those packages?
I do with NXT.
Yeah, that's why I was starting with that show.
Just the way that they do it, because you only have an hour to pull everything together.
Yeah.
So to me, it's either an all or nothing deal. It's either you're going to bring every single person in, or you're going to pretty much leave everybody out, which is essentially what they did, except for the main event. And it just kind of built this expectation of what TakeOver was supposed to be. Like I said, I haven't watched it yet. As soon as we end tonight, I'll be watching that, and I can't wait.
Yeah, same here. All right. Well, now that we're done covering NXT, Raw, and SmackDown, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the list. And here we go. The list is our segment where we give our version of the WWE and NXT Power Rankings. They're all together now. And we'll go with you, D-Shep. Go ahead. Look, who's on your list this week? Oh, pardon me.
These two guys I was kind of tossing back and forth, but I'm going to go because of the week promo with Dean Ambrose at 5.
Okay.
Just simply because I feel the overall length of this, but I just didn't feel it this week, basically. Mysterio, I got to go at 4 just simply because ever since he's came back, he's looked 10 years younger. He's looked absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, he does.
And number 3, I got to go with Elias, just because the man has been just on another level lately. Even though he lost, you don't really think of it as he lost on Raw. It's weird. Right. Daniel Bryan, I got to go number 2, because despite how I feel about the heel turn, him winning the title is still a big fucking deal.
It is.
And until anybody tells me anything different, Becky Lynch is permanent at number 1 until something sends a jolt up my ass.
All right. Well, we got D-Shep's list. Now, McGriff, who is on your list this week?
Man, that's kind of funny list. We got a lot of agreements here. Number 5, Dean Ambrose. Same deal. I enjoyed the heel turn originally. A little bit weak this week, but still, he's got to be in the upper echelon, just constantly being on TV, obviously. Number 4, Rey Mysterio. Great match with The Miz this week. Good win. Number 3, Kyle O'Reilly, for the exact same reasons I just stated in our last segment.
Yeah.
Number 2, Daniel Bryan winning the title. Same reasoning as D-Shep. I disagree with the timing, but hey, that's a huge milestone. Congrats. And without a doubt, D-Shep said it perfect. Until somebody could ever change my mind on this, Becky Lynch is going to be at number 1 until WrestleMania.
Okay, you guys are going to probably butcher me and give me shit, but here was on my list this week. Number 5, Kyle O'Reilly. At number 5, of course, getting a big win over Hanson of the War Raiders to get the advantage for War Games, which I can't wait to watch later on after this show. Number 4, Dean Ambrose. Of course, I understand that we weren't too big on this promo, but there was a response. There was a story told, and I can't wait to see what they go from there. That I put him at number 4. Number 3, Rey Mysterio. Still hasn't lost a match, really. Oh, besides Crown Jewel, but on TV, he hasn't lost a match. Dude, I'm with you guys. He looks like he's 23. It looks like the days of watching him in WCW going up against Eddie Guerrero, that kind of style. I'm telling you, he's still doing good. Number 3 for him. Number 2, I'm sorry, guys, Becky Lynch. I'm going with Becky Lynch on this one, and it's only because of my number 1, Daniel Bryan. Unexpected heel turn. Can't wait to see what he's going to go from there. But he won the title on SmackDown. For this week, I had to go with Daniel Bryan at number 1 and Becky Lynch at number 2. And I'm sure I'll be with you guys next week with Becky Lynch at number 1 again.
So for now, just go fuck yourself.
Oh, well, fuck you too, you fucking prick. All right. Here we go. So we're going to end the show with this real quick. Of course, we were going to do NXT TakeOver predictions, but it already happened, so there's no sense of doing that. So here, we're going to give our Survivor Series predictions real quick.
I don't think anybody wants to know our predictions on NXT anyway.
I went with Sane, Undisputed Era, Gargano, Ciampa, and I can't wait to see if I'm right. All right, here we go. Let's go right down the list, okay? Brock Lesnar, and we'll go with McGriff, D-Shep, and then myself, okay? We'll go in order. Brock Lesnar, Daniel Bryan, go ahead.
Lesnar.
Lesnar.
Okay. That's if there is a match. Bully Ray might be right. Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair.
Rousey.
And I'm going with Rousey, too, I feel Becky's going to get involved with that. Rollins and Nakamura.
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 Going with Rollins on this one. All right, Women's Survivor Series match. Raw or SmackDown?
SmackDown.
Yep.
I just want to add one thing to that.
Sure.
I'm curious if that mystery person is going to be someone coming up or someone coming back. Just something to keep an eye on.
I think Nikki Cross. Or whoever lost in the women's title match tonight at TakeOver. Okay, men's Survivor Series match. Raw or SmackDown?
Raw.
SmackDown.
I'm going with Raw. Because I don't think SmackDown's going to get a lot of victories. For the tag team match between the two champions, AOP and The Bar. Go ahead. Who do you have?
AOP.
AOP
as well. Okay, we're pretty close on everything here. Of course, that 205 Live Cruiserweight Championship. You got your champion, Buddy Murphy, going up against Mustafa Ali. Who do you have?
Murphy.
I flipped a coin, and it told me Murphy.
Jesus Christ. You guys can't just fucking enjoy it, pricks. And I go with Murphy as well. Okay, and the final match for the evening will be the Tag Team Survivor Series match, which we just learned will be on the kickoff show now because it's starting at F5, and this match is going to be on there. But we threw a prediction in anyway. Raw or SmackDown, go ahead.
Raw.
Flipped a coin again. It told me Raw.
I'm going with SmackDown. Going with SmackDown on this one. I think they got more power over there than they do on Raw. That's for sure. Got the Usos. Yeah, you got Revival, you got AOP, but AOP ain't a part of that match, or else I would flip it completely right there. Go with Raw. All right.
No, the Ascension's going to get the win.
All right. Oh, Jesus. Jesus Christ. Wow, way to shine some light on them. Okay. Well,
Lego.
is there anything you got to say in closing, Magriff?
Just throwing it out there, guys. We are finally affiliated. So definitely we're open for subs and all the fun stuff.
All right.
What kind of fun stuff are you offering?
Well, we're still working out details on all that fun stuff.
Yes, we are. All right. Well, we do appreciate everyone that has shown support over the time and the continued support. And, yeah, because of that, we are affiliated, and we thank you so much for that. And all I got to say in a nutshell, it was a crazy month and in the most craziest week in wrestling, but I enjoy it. And it was things like this that keeps reminding me why I love the sport of professional wrestling. Because even though they say it's entertainment, shows like SmackDown, shows like NXT, it pretty much shows you there is still some pro wrestling in there.
Mm-hmm.
And my love for it, I'm glad I'm in love with it again. And this week, definitely. It's like when you're with your wife for a while, and then you learn something new about her, and you're like, you know what? I love you. I'm going to fuck you tonight.
Whoa!
Anyways.
It comes off as so corny when you try to talk like me.
Like you.
It's not believable. It's like it's like a Dean Ambrose when he gets on the mic. It just sounds awkward. You know he's trying, but
how about this? You ready?
Okay.
You know what, baby? I love you. You know what? I'm going to fuck you. What do you think about that?
No, it's gonna be like, hey woman, I'm gonna fuck you in your ass, bitch.
Well, see, that's what Neanderthal hicks like you do.
Well, so I must be doing something right. I've been married 11 years. I mean, just saying.
I'm fucking around. Hey, you got your way, I got my way. I'm only kidding.
Yeah, you know what your way is? When your wife tells you to get behind her, you got to get the fucking step stool out so you can put your knees up on the son of a bitch to get up in there. Whoa!
Call me short.
That's how you do it!
I wish I could scream right now, but I can't. I can't exactly right now. You might be able to, but I can't. All right. Well, let's end this before it gets any worse. Everyone, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, before we lose our affiliate.
Yeah, we will.
It's all out of love. It's kind of like some of the stuff I would like to have Dean Ambrose say in his promos, but he just comes across as kind of not all there. Which I guess plays up with the lunatic thing. I don't know.
You got anything else?
No, I'm good.
And with that, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. And we could have a Survivor Series watch along on Monday, and of course we'll have our other show, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. I'll try to do watch alongs and have these guys join me. Thank you for tuning in. D-Shep, Magriff, myself, we all thank you. See you next time on the Go Home Wrestling Show. Later, everyone.